come back, especially for those friends that kind of forgot that we have a morning meeting today. Thank you though for friends coming on time. So I'm going to go ahead and share our morning announcements. We're going to watch those together. And then I will kind of go through our assignments and answer any questions for the day. Remember, this is just, we only have morning meeting today, and then everything else is independently worked on throughout the day. So you're kind of taking it at your own pace. All righty. So we have our morning announcements.
Good morning, Orchard Park. Who are we?
Outstanding people making a difference every day.
Good morning. I'm Mrs. Herman. I am a kindergarten teacher.
And I am Mrs. Rosenbaum. I teach the resource room for 4th and 5th graders.
Today is Wednesday, December 9th, and today we recognize students who have been safe. And Mrs. N would like to thank her students for being safe on their Zoom meeting on Monday morning when her laptop blew up and died. They all left the meeting and kept doing their morning meeting work at Haggerty without her. Some even sent her encouraging messages telling her it would be okay. She is so grateful for you all. Great job being safe. We're going to give Mrs. N's class a hip, hip, hooray.
Hip, hip, hooray.
Hip, hip, hooray.
Good job. There are no general announcements today.
So we are going to jump into what we're going to eat today. Today's lunch is cheese-filled breadsticks with marinara and baby carrots and apple and milk. Tomorrow's breakfast is Cine Minis with juice and milk. And tomorrow's lunch will be all beef hot dogs with wedge fries, orange, and milk.
Yum, that sounds good. All right, there are no birthdays at all today.
So we will stand for the pledge.
Stand on up for the pledge.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remember, here at Orchard Park, we will always
Be responsible, be safe,
be respectful. Hey, hey,
hey,
hey,
hey, woo! Woo! Have a great Wednesday, and we will see you tomorrow.
Okay, so that is our morning announcements for today. And we're going to take a look at our schedule checklist. After that, we will fill out our agenda. So today's checklist, I'm going to make it nice and big. You will have your daily language review that we will work on together in just a few minutes. Then we won't take a break, but you might take a break before you do ELA. The only Zoom today is this Zoom. Then during your ELA block, I have uploaded a video of our memory writing assignment. I do the rough draft and I kind of walk you through the steps of what your rough draft might look like. Then from there, you're going to continue working on that volcano cause and effect assignment, making sure that everything in that assignment is super detailed with evidence from the text. If there is no evidence from the text, I might send it back to you and ask for you to add more detail. I also want you to make sure you go on to iReady today for at least 15 minutes. Then you'll have some more independent work time, finishing up any unfinished work. Remember, today is the end of our midterm. So you need to have any unfinished, missing assignments turned in, let's say by this morning, so that Mrs. Pierce can make sure your grade reflects having those assignments completed. My math friends, you have Zern and Simple Solutions 47 to do. Mrs. Hoggett, our school counselor, has invited you to her Google Classroom. I've included her Google Classroom code here. And she's actually has a lesson for you to look at today. So we don't typically have specials on Wednesdays anymore, but that is a special that you can go to and check out her lesson. I've included, like I said, her Google Classroom code. Then make sure you take a break for lunch and recess. If you haven't finished the week 7 crossword, hopefully you're working on it. I will post a longer video today with, I'm going to go through some of the answers. Yesterday I had one. Hank, you pointed out one that I might have incorrect, so I'm going to go ahead and check that. But I will update my crossword so that all of my answers are filled in, and that video will be made available to you. We also will have a think and respond assignment that you're going to start on. My math friends, you have lesson 47 for simple solutions, uploading a picture of it, and then you have a set of slides for lesson 13. I will say lesson 13 today is super similar to yesterday's lesson. I did include a video for that lesson, but it is very similar to yesterday. So if you felt like yesterday, you know, it was coming along very well, then I think lesson 13 will just be a continuance of that. It's just word problems today that are multi-step. And then also don't forget to work on your Zearn. So knowing that information, we're going to go to our page in our agenda. We should be on page 50 and 51. And we're going to fill out Wednesday. I'm going to turn on my camera so I can share. And it's Wednesday. So Wednesday, December 9th, under reading, you're going to start off with, obviously, your reading log. And volcano, cause, and effect. Then my math friends, we have simple solutions, number 47, and module 3, lesson 13, exit ticket. Gonna run out of room. For language arts, that's our writing. We have our rough draft of memory. Okay, so that's like Mrs. Pierce. Like I said, I put the video with the assignment, and you are writing about the one that you have been using for all of your kind of thinking. So like the sensory details, the one where you took notes, you are talking about that same memory. Then for social studies, I'm all the way down at the bottom, you're doing week 7, think and review. So you have all of these things to work on today. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to kind of finish up writing what we have for our assignments today. Like I said, things have videos on it, or things are continuations of yesterday. So hopefully today will go pretty smoothly.
What's the bottom one?
The bottom one is week 7, think and review. There will be some questions I post in a Google Doc that you will need to use your newspaper for.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Carter. Remember, today is not a day off from school, even though we're not on live Zoom all day. You still need to work on your assignments throughout the school day and turn them in. I don't want to look at your Google Classroom, you know, when I log off this afternoon at 4 o'clock and see like, oh, we haven't done anything today. That would tell me you did not treat today as a real school day. Make sure you're using this independent time wisely and maybe even getting some stuff done from other days that you haven't turned in yet. Because since we're not going to be live Zoom, then you will have more time to work. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go to our Google Classroom and work on our morning work. So we're going to be on Wordy Wednesday under our ELA morning work. Remember, Wordy Wednesday typically is vocabulary. And we're going to be looking at homophones. So remember, a homophone is a word that sounds like another word, but it means something else. So we're looking at the two homophones, bear and hours. So bear in the first side on the left, which means like nothing, or like literally a fuzzy woodland creature. Or we have hours, which means we're sharing something, or the hours in a school day or on a clock. So you're going to be working on Wordy Wednesday. Let's go ahead and take 2 minutes to try to figure out the answers for Wordy Wednesday. I'm muted. 10 seconds left, and then we'll start going over answers. Okay, so it is on the left side. We have bobbing for homophones. Miss Franny thought she saw a bear outside of her library window. However, it was only Opal's dog, Winn-Dixie, standing on his hind legs outside the window. Which bear is it? You got to spell it for me. Owen.
B-E-A-R.
Which one?
B-E-A-R.
B-E-A-R. That is correct. The animal bear. All right, circle the word that best completes each sentence. Rory spent hours working on her homework. Spell it for me, Mason.
actually had a different question.
What's your question?
Is that first sentence from the book Because of Winn-Dixie?
I actually haven't read that book since like I was your age, so I would have no idea. But all right, number one, Rory spent hours working on her homework. Hank?
H-O-U-R-S.
H-O-U-R-S. That is correct. This is our first time at a haunted house. Jaylee.
O-U-R.
O-U-R. Some people will spend hours looking for the best Halloween costume. Charlotte.
This one is H-O-U-R-S.
H-O-U-R-S.
Yes.
Our school has a huge parade on October 31st. Lucas.
H-O-R. No. Oh. O-U-R.
O-U-R. Good job. All right, so those are our answers for Wordy Wednesday. Make sure you have Wednesday completed. We will have 2 more days and then we will turn it in on Friday. Do you have any questions about Wordy Wednesday at all? Or any of the assignments I've talked about so far? Really quick, I did just want to point out in your Google Classroom, there is one more assignment that will pop up. That's that Think and Review. It'll be scheduled, I think, for 10 a.m. Otherwise, everything else has been added into your Google Classroom. So you can kind of, even though I give you a schedule, and I think it's kind of good to stay with the schedule of our normal school day, you can kind of work at your own pace and decide what order you want to do things in. So if I look, my friends, your simple solutions is already there. Your math for Eureka will actually, I think, come up at 9 a.m. So that one will populate in a little bit. Your small moment memory rough draft, my YouTube video is connected to the assignment, and then you have a Google Docs. Yesterday, the same volcano cause and effect. I would suggest rereading the story today before trying to answer the questions. We've already done the word morning work, and we've already looked at morning announcements, but then my math friends, you have Zern and math winter word problems if you haven't filled that out as well. And like I said, you do have 2 more assignments that will come up in the next half hour or so. Any questions about what you're doing today? No? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read from our last chapter in our book. And then I probably won't finish it, but I will get a good start on it. And then I will send you on your way. So we have chapter 0, the denouement. That's a strange word. All right. No, that last chapter wasn't really the last chapter. Don't feel bad if you put a lot of work into it. The work wasn't wasted. So remember, the author gave you the option to write your own story. Many important things happen in that chapter. At least I think so. I'll tell you what, if you're that angry, just push this book aside and forget all about this chapter and all about Cass and Max Ernest and all about The Secret and all about me too. Good riddance, right? No, you want to keep reading? Okay, how's this for a compromise? Why not think of your chapter, chapter 32, as the last chapter? As for this chapter, we'll make it chapter 0. If anyone asks, it just simply does not exist. It's nothing chapter. It's the unchapter. It simply does not count. And we won't call it the ending either. That grand title we'll leave for your chapter. We'll call this chapter the denouement. One dictionary defines denouement as a final part in which everything is made clear and no questions or surprises remain. By that definition, it is exactly the wrong word to describe this chapter. This chapter will make nothing clear. It will raise many questions and maybe even contain a surprise or two. But I say we call it the denouement anyway because the word sounds so sophisticated and so French. You see, there was one more occurrence in the lives of our two heroes that I must relay before we are finished. In this occurrence, I doubt it will give you anything what people might call a sense of closure. If you're anything like me, and I fear that you are because you've read this far, you'll find it more maddening than anything else. My intent is not to torture you. I want merely to show you that this is a larger picture, that our story doesn't begin and end with this book, or with Cass and Max Ernest, or even with you and me. One rainy afternoon, not very long after her experience at the Midnight Sun, but long enough so that she'd already grown extremely tired of trying to convince people that her experience was real, Cass was sitting upstairs at the firehouse having tea with Grandpa Larry, just as she had done every Wednesday for years. However, this time they were not alone. Much to the delight of Grandpa Larry, who loved nothing more than a fresh audience for his stories, their Wednesday ritual had recently grown to include Cass's new friend, Max Ernest, and a special guest today, Benjamin Blake. This week's tea was Earl Grey, a tea that Benjamin insisted was incorrectly named because it actually tasted pale blue. Benjamin had a similar complaint about orange pekoe, a tea that he said tasted olive green. Green tea, on the other, was not tasting green, but actually bright yellow. Grandpa Larry tried to explain that Earl Grey was named not for its color, but for Charles Grey, the second Earl Grey, also known as Viscount Hawick. However, his young listeners did not appear to care much about the Viscount, so Grandpa Larry gamely switched topics and started to relate an old and gratifyingly bloody Chinese legend about the origin of tea. The legend concerned a Buddhist monk who kept falling asleep when he tried to meditate. The monk got so frustrated that he eventually cut off his own eyelids. I know, ow. According to the legend, the world's first tea bushes grew in the spot where his eyelids fell. And that is why, to this very day, drinking tea helps people keep their eyes open when they're tired. That's a legend, remember. It was then that they heard Sebastian barking downstairs. A customer had arrived. "It's Gloria! I'll be in the back," Grandpa Wayne shouted from below. As always, Gloria had arrived at the fire station with a big box of stuff. The kids waiting impatiently as Grandpa Larry carried the stuff in for her. "Gloria, this is Max Ernest and Benjamin, and you remember meeting Cass," said Grandpa Larry after he finally found space to put the box down. "I think so," said Gloria. "Wasn't she here last time?" Cass waited for more, but Gloria only smiled in a vague sort of way, as if Gloria barely remembered her. "Yeah, and we saw each other at the Midnight Sun, too," Cass prompted, in case Gloria thought Cass didn't want her to mention it. "The Midnight Sun? You mean the spa?" Gloria seemed genuinely surprised. "You actually must be thinking of someone else," she said. "I took a terrible fall right before I was supposed to go. Ask Larry, he'll tell you. I spent a week in the hospital. They thought I might have amnesia. It was like days of our lives, you know. But how was it? I'm dying to hear. I didn't even know that they allowed children." Cass looked closely at Gloria, expecting some kind of secret communication, a threatening glance, or maybe a sly wink, but Gloria's face remained blank. Either she thought she was telling the truth, or she was actually a very good actor. It was okay," said Cass slowly, "but it's not really there now." "It isn't?" Gloria asked, confused. "What do you mean?" "Cass, will you just please put Sebastian outside? He's about to chew this box apart." Grandpa Larry broke in before Cass could even answer. And that's where I'm going to pause. So in this kind of wrap up chapter, we've learned that Gloria, who was at the Midnight Sun at the same time, doesn't even recall the events of what happened there. So something maybe happened that caused her to forget what occurred. So that is our morning meeting for today.